Baba, is it true that there is a fort in Dikwa?
Yes, my boy. Rabih's fort in Dikwa stood as a symbol of power and history in the lectured region. It was built more than a century ago by Rabih az-Zubair, a man who began as a soldier in Sudan and rose to become one of the most powerful rulers in Central Africa.
Was Rabeh a hero?
Depends who you ask. To some, he was a conqueror, to others, a ruler who brought order. But what matters is what he left behind, the fort, and the history it carries.
What history, Baba?
A history that tells how people once lived here in northeastern Nigeria. Dikwa was part of the old Borno Empire. It was a place of trade and power, and Rabih came from across the deserts near Chad. When he built his fort here, it became a center of his rule. Rabih traveled across kingdoms, fought battles, and gathered people who believed in his vision. When he reached the Kanem Borno Empire in 1890s, he made Dikwa his capital and built a fortress that showed both his ambition and strength. The fort was made of earth and clay, with wide walls that protected his court and his army. It was also a center of trade, learning, and leadership. From there, Rabih ruled over a vast region that stretched across today's Chad, Niger, and Nigeria. But his rule did not last. In 1900, French forces entered his territory, and after a fierce battle near Kusuri, Rabih was killed, and his empire came to an end. But the fort has remained as a witness to history. In 1959, before Nigeria's independence, Rabih's fort was declared a national monument to protect its cultural and historical value. Students visited it, researchers studied it, locals guided visitors through its grounds. For generations, it reminded people of the long history of power, trade, and scholarship in the lectured basin. Then came the years of conflicts. When Boko Haram invaded Dikwa between 2014 and 2015, the fort suffered severe damage. Walls were destroyed, artifacts were taken, and much of the site was left in ruins. This loss was both physical and emotional, because for many people, Rabih's fort represented a link to their ancestors and to a time when the region was a center of civilization. The destructions of Rabih's fort is part of a larger story of heritage loss in the Lake Chad region. Other cultural treasures too have been damaged. In Madagali, Adamawa State, the Sukur cultural landscape, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, was attacked during the insurgency. Shrines, churches, and mosques across the region were also destroyed. These are places of significance that carry the art, worship, and way of life of a people. When such places are destroyed or disappear, the stories and identities they hold began to fade as well. When conflict destroys these things, it affects the social fabric of entire communities. It changes how people see themselves and how they connect to their past. But even after years of violence, there is still resilience. Communities across Dikwa and across the Lake Chad Basin are working to preserve what remains. There are efforts to document sites, protect surviving artifacts, and promote awareness about cultural preservation. Rabih's fort may no longer stand in its original strength, but it continues to live in memory and in the determination of those who remember what it stood for. It reminds us that heritage is not only what we can see or touch, it is what connects people across generations, a foundation for identity and belonging. As the lectured region recovers from years of conflicts, protecting this shared heritage is essential. Each story remembered and each wall restored helps keep history alive. And through that, hope continues to grow even amidst the remnants of loss.